Hi everyone, I hope your studying is going well and that this recording is helpful to you. I'm starting with the Gemara on Chav Zayin Amid Bet. We're obviously in Masechet Bava Kama. Shalach le Rav Chisda le Rav Nachman. Rav Chisda sent a message to Rav Nachman. We discussed that the reason why the Gemara formulated this as he sent him a question was because even though they both lived in Bavel, they lived in two very different areas. Haray amru leruchuva shalosh ulebeita chamesh v'lesanokeret shalosh esrei. Behold, we have said that for kneeing you pay 3, for kicking you pay 5, and for punching 13. Lepadna demara v'lekupina demara mai. For the handle of a hoe, or the blade, or the top of the hoe, what? How much do you pay? Rashi comments here and explains shlosh esrei. What did we mean when we gave these numbers? All it said, it didn't even say you have to pay. It just said, for this action, here's a number. Sla'im, this number refers to the amount of sla'im that you would pay. Liboshato, for his embarrassment. So for each of these actions, for the embarrassment, we learned that there are 5 areas of payment that come with damaging someone else, and boshet, embarrassment, is one of them. However, Rashi makes sure to add, livad chiyuv she'ar hadvarim, aside from your obligation to pay the rest of the 4 things. So Rav Chisda here is talking about these different actions and how much you pay for the boshet that is incurred by these actions. It doesn't mean that the person is patur from the other 4 things. They have to pay them. But he's asking here, how much would you have to pay for boshet for this specific action of hitting someone with the shovel? Shalach le. Rav Nachman responds to Rav Chisda, Chisda, come on Chisda, what are you talking about? Knasa kamek be Bavel? He asked rhetorically, do we collect fines in Bavel? We discussed that a fine is a type of payment that comes on top of a base payment. It's something that you incur basically as a punishment on top. We're adding on top to the penalty that you incurred. And the moment you did the action, here's another punishment. But we don't collect those fines in Bavel. Emali gufa de uvda. Tell me itself what happened. How did it happen? What exactly happened that you're asking about this? So Rav Nachman is assuming that Rav Chisda knows we don't collect fines in Bavel. There must be more details to his case that he left out because he couldn't have been asking how much you collect since we don't collect this kind of payment in Bavel. Now we're going to go to Tosfot, who explain a little bit further what Rav Nachman meant and where he's coming from. Knasa coming Bavel. This is at the bottom of Chav Zayin Amud Bet. Lav Knasa Ella Din Knasahu. Rav Nachman is not saying that boshet is a knas, because boshet is not a knas. Boshet is part of the basic payment. It's part of the payback to the damage that you did. When you cause damage to someone, you immediately cause them boshet also. So it's not an added punishment. It's not something unrelated to what you did. It's exactly because you did this, now they have boshet. That's not a knas. A knas is an added on payment. It's an added punishment. So rather, what was Rav Nachman saying? Din knasahu. This has like the same judgment. It's given out the same way as a penalty, as a knas. So we said in class that maybe this means that because boshet is calculated technically later, you can't calculate it right away when you do the action because we don't know how much embarrassment it's going to be. Maybe it'll be published in the paper next day. Maybe the person will have no embarrassment. We don't know. We have to wait. So maybe in that way, it's kind of similar to knas because knas only happens once we've determined that you've done the action and that now you have to pay the base payment. Okay, now we're going to add on the knas. So they kind of operate and are given out in a similar way, but they are not the same. Boshet is not actually a knas. It just has the judgment of knas. So the rest of the Tosfot, I'm not expecting you to read inside, but I'll just read the words and explain the concept. So we said that the reason why in Bavel they could not collect fines was because in order to collect a fine, you need to have a lot of power and a lot of authority. And when the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, the power to be able to give smicha really was only left in Israel. Once people went to Bavel, they no longer were able to give smicha. They were no longer able to pass the original smicha, which was given from Moshe to Yoshua. Now Moshe learned, right, he got the Torah from Hashem and then passed on this authority to be able to decide in cases to Yehoshua. And they kept passing the smicha along down through and through and through. But when the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, that ability to pass down true smicha stopped. So when people went to Bavel, they were operating outside of the real true smicha, the real authority, and therefore they lost the ability, the privilege to be, and the power to be able to collect fines. All right, let's go back to the Gemara. Shalachle. So Rav Chisda responds back to Rav Nachman, Dehahu garguta debeitre. There was a certain water cistern, this big well, that belonged to two people. That each day they had an arrangement. Each day, one of them would draw water from it. One of them came and started drawing water on a day that was not his. Amarle, so the other guy says to him, Yom Adidihu, it's my day, it's my turn today. Lo eshkachbe, but the other person ignores him. He didn't pay attention to him. Shakal padna tomorrow machya. So the person whose turn it was supposed to be that day, after protesting, after saying something and being ignored, he takes the handle of a shovel and hits the other one. So when Rav Chisda was asking his question to Rav Nachman, he wasn't really asking for like a specific amount of how much do you pay for the bullshit. He was really asking, do you have to pay at all? Since this person rightfully hit the other person, it was supposed to be his turn, and the other guy ignored him, maybe he should be patur from paying it all. Amar le, Rav Nachman says back to Rav Chisda, Mea padne bepadna lemachye. The guy should be able to hit the other one 100 times. Afilu l'mayin ta'amar lo avid inish din l'nafshe. This would be even according to the opinion that says someone cannot take the law into their own hands, someone cannot do judgment for themselves. B'makom pseida avid inish din l'nafshe, because even this opinion would agree that in a place where you have loss, where you're going to lose out on money, then you can take the law into your own hands. So now the Gemara explains, what is Rav Nachman talking about, these two opinions? To Itmar, as it was stated, Rav Yehuda Amar, Lo Avid Inish Din L'Nafshe, Rav Nachman Amar, Avid Inish Din L'Nafshe. So the Gemara quotes a Machluka, as it was stated, Rav Yehuda says, one may not take the law into their own hands, they may not make the judgment for themselves. Rav Nachman says, you can make the judgment for yourselves, you can do what you need to do. Heicha de'ik pseida kule ama lo plige. Where there is a loss, where the reason why you're taking the law into your own hands is because you're preventing a loss from happening, Kule Alma, everyone, lo plige, does not disagree. So everyone agrees to that you can take the law into your own hands. So what's the machloket about? Ki plige heicha delek pseida. They do argue, Rav Nachman and Rav Yehuda have an argument where there is no loss. Rav Yehuda Amar lo avid inish din l'nafshe. To kevan to lekap seda lezel kame dayana. Rav Yehuda holds that in a case where you're not preventing loss from happening, the loss has already happened. You can't take the law into your own hands, because what do you have to do? Lezel kame dayana. You have to go in front of the Beit Din. That's the whole point of the Beit Din. That's why they're there. Rav Nachman Amar avid inish din l'nafshe to kevan to badin avid lo tarach. Rav Nachman says, you can take the law into your own hands even if you're not preventing loss, but just to make the payment happen after the initial loss has already happened, you can restore things, make things right. Since you're operating according to the law, lo tarach, we don't burden you, we don't make you schlep all the way to the Beit Din and prove that the other person took your thing and they were in the wrong. We don't make you spend the time and the money to go to Beit Din. If you're really doing the right thing, you had an agreement with the other person did something wrong, so you're right, and we don't make you schlep. All right, so now we have an interesting statement of Ben Bagbag, which is quoted through Rav Kahana. Meitiv Rav Kahana. Rav Kahana brings an attack. Ben Bagbag Omer, Al tikanis lechatzer chavercha litol et shelcha shalo b'reshut. Don't go into the courtyard of your friend to take what's yours without permission. Shema tira alav kiganav. Perhaps it will seem to him, to the person whose yard you're going into, that you're a robber. Ella shibur et shinav va'amor lo shali ani notel. Rather, you should break his teeth and say to him, I'm taking what's mine. So Ben Bagbag brings this whole attack. The only thing is that we never really specified at the beginning who he was coming to attack. Now, the pshat seems like he is attacking Rav Yehuda, because Rav Yehuda was the one who said that once the loss already happened, you have to go to Beit Din. And it seems like in this case, the loss already happened, because we're saying it's a case where the guy wants to go to someone else's courtyard to take back an object that's his, meaning that it was already taken. But so Gemara says now that the obvious approach, which is that if Ben Bagbag was refuting Rav Yehuda, Amar le, so Rav Yehuda would say back to Ben Bagbag, Imcha, keep it to yourself. Or really, you sure you want to say that, Ben Bagbag? Imcha? Ben Bagbag yichidahu. Ben Bagbag is a singular opinion. Upligi Rabbanan alei. All the other rabbis, they disagree with him. So this is Rav Yehuda's response. If the Gemara is kind of responding for Rav Yehuda on Rav Yehuda's behalf, if Ben Bagba is coming to attack Rav Yehuda would just say, who are you? You're just one person. Everyone disagrees with you. Everyone else agrees with me. Rav Yanai Amar, but Rav Yanai takes a different approach. No, maybe we don't have to say that Ben Bagba is coming to attack Rav Yehuda. Maybe he actually agrees with Rav Yehuda. My shibur achinav. What does it mean when Bagbag said you should break his teeth? Badin. Break the other guy's teeth in court. Bring arguments and cases that will make him break his teeth. He'll be so nervous that he'll be grinding his teeth will be chattering. So really, Rav Yanai says Ben Bagag is actually coming to support Rav Yehuda. He's agreeing with him. But the Gemara doesn't really like Rav Yanai's opinion because it doesn't seem to fit so well with what Ben Bagag actually said. Ihachi, if so, va'amor lo. When Bagag said, you, singular, should say to him, ve'omrim lo mi ba'elei. He should have said, Ben Bagag should have said it like this. You, plural, should say to him. Who's you, plural? If Ben Bagag meant that you're going to Beit Din, then there should be a Beit Din. There's many judges on a Beit Din. The judges of the Beit Din should say collectively, all together, to the person, Shali ani notel. Ben Bagag also said, you should say to the person, I am taking what's mine, I in singular. But if he was talking about Beit Din, Shalohu notel, no mibaile, right? It should have said that the Beit Din tells the guy who stole the thing, he's taking back, this other guy is going to take back what's his. So the way that Ben Bagag formulated what it said, he said the pronouns that Ben Bagag used, basically the grammar of what he said, it doesn't make sense with Beit Din, because if he was talking about going to Beit Din, it should have been plural, it should have been in third person. But everything here is singular and first person. I'm taking what's mine. It sounds like it's a one-on-one interaction. So the Gemara ends off with a kasha. It is a difficulty. We're not completely sure, we're not totally sold if Ben Bagag is coming to attack Rav Yehuda or defend Rav Yehuda. And we had said in class that a kasha is a difficulty where we could kind of figure out the answer logically. Right here, it seems that probably most likely Ben Bagag is coming to attack Rav Yehuda. And so then therefore we would just say, Rav Yehuda would just say, okay, you're a singular opinion. But the Gemara is leaving this as a kasha because it is still possible. We still have Rav Yanai's opinion that it's possible, since Ben Bagag wasn't totally crystal clear in what he was saying, it's possible to interpret what he said as a support for Rav Yehuda. So this was the Gemara that we learned, and I hope you guys learned it really well. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them.